What's going on, y'all? It's DG back with another video, and in this one going to be giving y'all my quick thought on the brand new Harden Volume 9. This is one of my most requested videos, and this is going to be not really a performance review, but really just my raw thoughts playing in this shoe over the past 2 weeks. Because this colorway was an Asia exclusive, all the pairs that you're seeing are most likely from ID for Shoes. That's where I got these from. Traction is pretty much identical looking to the Harden Volume 8. And these perform really well, especially after you break it in. It does perform well on dust in my personal opinion. The main downside to this traction is the durability. If you're playing in these every day, these are going to wear down very fast in my personal opinion, because even for me, it's already like getting a little bit more fraying than I would like after 2 weeks. So I don't recommend taking these outdoors unless you want to, because I'm a firm believer in whatever shoe you have, just wear it wherever, outside and inside. But from a durability perspective, I don't necessarily recommend this outsole. But on an indoor court, I do feel like this traction is good. For the cushion setup, I believe they're using primarily light boost, and it does feel very similar to the AE1 Low. I actually think the cushion needs the most break-in time in terms of the materials, the traction. I do think the cushion needs the most break-in time. At first, it doesn't feel like much, but after you continue playing in it, you can definitely feel it. It's not going to feel anything too crazy, but it's going to be responsive, it's going to be comfortable, it's going to be adequate. And again, it does feel pretty similar to the Harden Volume 8. I do think the majority of play styles and weights and heights will like the cushion setup, besides like people who need a lot of cushion, who are pretty big and live in the paint or something, or aren't as nimble. I do think those people may prefer something with a little bit more compression. For the majority of people, I do think this cushion setup is adequate. Whatever size you got in the 7s and the 8s, you should get in the 9s. In my opinion, these do fit true to size. The material is also not too stiff at all. It's actually pretty malleable as well. So it does feel kind of like a sock on your foot, especially with the one booty type of construction upper that they've been using on the past 3 Hardens. I will call out though that you do need to pull this sock up, because sometimes it like scrunches or it goes down into my ankle. It doesn't necessarily hurt me, but I would recommend like making sure that you pull the material up on the ankle. The shoe does feel pretty padded all throughout, on the inside, on the interior. This material on the ankle portion, as well as just that one booty design, I feel like is just really comfortable, especially around that Achilles and ankle. And there's no heel slippage in this shoe as well. There's really good lockdown, in terms of the lacing system. So you get your right size and you're going to be good to go. In terms of the weight, I do think that these play a little bit lighter, slightly. It's not anything too crazy. It does feel a little bit lighter than the 8s in my opinion. Although in terms of just overall playability, I do feel like they're very much similar, if that makes sense. Like, I don't think these are a huge monumental improvement over the 8 to the point where you feel the need to justify buying these over like a Volume 8 on sale, if that makes sense. Now, aesthetically, I do think these look the best out of the past 3 Hardens, including this one. So I do think these look better than the 7 and the 8. And if you guys watch my videos, then I've always said this. I do like this shoe aesthetically a lot, especially this colorway. I do think this colorway is the best one out of that lineup that they previewed to us a couple of weeks ago. But overall, I do like the aesthetics of these. All of the past Harden shoes are very much on par with each other, to the point where if you're on a budget, or if you are just trying to just play basketball, I don't think it's necessary to buy these. And you can really argue that with a lot of basketball shoes. With that said, on a more positive note, if you guys can afford this and you want to have a really solid performer that feels good on feet, then I do recommend these. These are a pretty good shoe. I will say that if you're used to very lightweight shoes, like a GT Cut 3 or a Gamma, or even like a Wow 10, for example, I feel like that shoe was pretty light for me, then these may take some time to get used to, right? Because it's not going to be the most, lightest shoe in the world where you can just fly up and down the court. Or even like a Kobe 8. I feel like a Kobe 8 is pretty light, for example, that a lot of people have experience in. This is not going to be that. There is some substantialness to this shoe. There is, material on this shoe. There's layers, a little bit of layers on this shoe, as you guys can see. So it's not going to be the lightest shoe in the world. I would categorize this as like average weight towards a little bit of the heavier side, but it's still, I feel like, the lightest out of all of the past 3 Hardens. It's just only slightly. It's not like crazy, like they shit off all the weight off this shoe. I think it's like a slight improvement, but overall, I do think that this shoe feels very similar cushion-wise to the AE1 Low, and the playability is there, just like the past Hardens. Overall, I do think this is pretty similar to the 8s, guys. They're really similar. It's just like the wrapping is different, pretty much. Like overall, it's just a different type of material on the upper. It looks different a little bit. And if that's enough for you to justify buying these, then by all means, be like me, because it was enough for me to justify buying these because I like the way these look a lot. And they feel pretty similar to the 8, and the 8 was a really good performer. If you do want more cushion in the shoe, you can use these new baseline insoles from Move. They're basically the same thing as a regular insole. There's no plates in this one like the Game Day or the Game Day Pros, but this one just provides a little bit more compression, a little bit more cushion, and it just makes the shoe more comfortable, if that makes sense. So if you're not all about, you know, getting a plate into your insole, then you can just use these. These are pretty much the same as any regular insole, it just has more cushion. I do like the direction that Adidas is going. They're making polarizing silhouettes. I feel like this is not necessarily traditional like Nike shoes, where a lot of them blend together and they look the same. These are very distinct. You know it's a Harden, but they all look pretty different, which I like. And at the end of the day, if you're a good basketball player, you're going to be able to get buckets in these. I would just say that they're not the lightest shoe in the world for sure. So if you need to move the fastest, you know, if you're like a cheetah on the court, then this may not be the shoe for you. If you're like a super big guy that needs a lot more cushion underneath their knees, then this may not be the shoe for them. But overall, this is a good performer, and I do feel like a lot of people will enjoy these, just like they did the 7s and the 8s. Last thing I will say is that this does feel like leaning towards a more premium product compared to other shoes like Nike shoes or even, you know, Curry brand shoes and stuff like that. Like these look cool, you know, and I think that's important, especially when you're spending like close to $200 on a shoe, especially if it's overseas where you have to pay a little bit more. So it does look somewhat premium. The materials do feel nice. They're not too stiff. They're very malleable in my opinion. So you're going to be good with these. And even if you don't like them performance-wise, I do think that, you know, these are a nice shoe to just wear casually as well too. So leave a comment down below and let me know what you guys think of the brand new Harden Volume 9s. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.